young man. You join an elite group now as a winner of the Indianapolis 500.
And Memorial Day weekend means the greatest spectacle in racing. Join ABC Sports at the legendary Brickyard for the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500. Two-time winner Elio Castro-Neves, series champion Tony Kanaan, and sensational rookie Danica Patrick will head a field of the best drivers on the planet Sunday, May 29th on ABC. Well, one driver who will miss this year's Indianapolis 500 was an impressive rookie who began the year with a 10th place finish, but on last Friday, frightening Friday it was instead of fast Friday for rookie Paul Dana. Hard impact into the turn 2 wall. And Paul Dana in the ethanol Himmelgarn machine suffered fractures to T7 and T8, two of his thoracic vertebrae, when it calls him to sit out. Due to go climb to put in the car. Well, how about this young man right here? Jimmy Kite qualified. Jimmy, glad to have you back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, not the situation we wanted. We're all hoping Paul gets back nice and healthy, but it is great to be back here, especially with a team like Ethanol Himmelgarn Racing.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Greg Ray up here. It's great to see you back. And I tell you, in the years past, it seems like you've qualified a lot of times on Sunday, the last day on bump day. You're actually in a day early, so this has got to be a big relief for you. This is out of the ordinary for you. Yeah,
it's a weird feeling. Last night when I was laying there, going to bed and actually thinking, wow, there's still a day left of practice. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever actually had that situation. So it was weird coming to the track today, knowing that all we had to work on was full tank, full tank stuff, and trying to get behind cars and feel the draft rather than worry about what my qualifying time is going to be.
I heard when you got out of the car, you looked at Ron Himmelgarn and said it was flat. That's all I had. I mean, did you basically have your foot on the floor the entire 4 laps?
Yeah, well, actually, 5. Even the final warm-up lap, going out. I mean, my first lap went out, and from there on, it was wide open. I just, like I said, Arie Sr. might have been able to get another 10th or 2 out, or even Greg Ray. But for me being in that car, that was all she had.
Hey, Jimmy, watching your practice laps and your laps earlier in the day, 218 was kind of your threshold, and it looks like you got every single thing out of the car, and I think you did an excellent job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Hopefully everybody back in the garage agrees with you. But, I know we're getting along really well. Tim Woodruff's back there engineering it, and I've worked with him before. And, like I said, we have the car working really well. It's really consistent. Even when today, me and Jacques Lazier, neither one of us have a teammate, so we kind of went out and did a little bit of play work in the draft, in front and behind. And, even then, it's really consistent. So, I'm happy with it. We'll just see what happens next Sunday.
Jimmy, last time you were here, you started back in that last row in 32nd spot where we right now are scheduled to start here next Sunday. And you ran all the way toward the top 10 and almost got a top 10 finish there for PDM. What is it like starting back in the last row, the 11th row, when they come down and take the green flag? And we hear about all the air and all the vortices of forces. What's it like being back there?
It's pretty scary for about 4 or 5 laps till everything gets sorted out. Obviously, by the time the air gets back to the 11th row, really you have no downforce on your car for a couple laps. The neat part, my rookie year, I remember what it was like, and it scared me really bad. The neat part now is this will be my 5th one, and knowing what it's like down there, it's pretty funny. Even that last one, to see the rookies actually turn 1, lap 1, duck down to the bottom and try to hug that corner because it gets a little tight, and you actually be able to go by a couple of them. But for the younger guys, it's pretty intimidating lap 1, turn 1, starting back there.
Jimmy, we wish you well. Congratulations on qualifying for your 5th Indianapolis 500. You got an 11th place finish in your first time here as a rookie. I know you're looking for that top 10. Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Jimmy Kite qualifying in the ethanol Himmelgarn machine as we are here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is the 4th and final day of time trials. They call it bump day. The field is full, and the car you are watching may be headed up to attempt to bump its way in the field. As we check in down on pit road with Vince Welch.
That's exactly right, Dr. Punch. They are moving the Felipe Giaffone machine, of course, owned by A.J. Foyt, moving it to the fuel area. They're going to put enough fuel in it so it can make a successful qualifying attempt, of course, and then they're going to put it in the qualifying line. A.J. Foyt asked Felipe, do you feel as though you can put together 4 laps of 2:16? Felipe said, I think I can. They gave a half a turn of front wing. He said, Felipe said, I'm just trying to find the correct line that will eliminate my push that I'm experiencing in turn 2. And A.J. Foyt said, let's put a little half turn of front wing in it. They had a discussion back and forth whether it'd be a half a turn or a full turn. They settled on a half turn. I got to tell you, Dr. Punch, and this is something that I'm sure Greg Ray could relate to, the level of communication between A.J. Foyt and Felipe Giaffone has been incredible. They seem to be on the same page, even though the two of them have never worked together, and they have been spot on with their communication and how the car is handling and reacting to the adjustments that they've made. And as I've kind of dipped into the radio communication of Arie Luyendyk Jr., I'm not sure, because of the lack of experience of Arie Jr., that they're getting that same amount of communication and feedback back from Arie Jr. that they're getting from Felipe in the Foyt camp.
Hey, Vince, you know, I think you're exactly right. You know, Felipe Giaffone, he's a veteran. He's been here. He's done that. He knows what he wants from the car, and that's the biggest thing. When you know what a good car is, you know what a bad car is, you know the feedback to give, and he definitely has that experience. Luyendyk Jr., you know, he's a great, gifted driver, but he doesn't have a lot of experience. I don't think he knows what he wants to feel from the car. He's just still getting comfortable, and I think right here on this shootout, maybe here on Bubble Day, that's going to give a big advantage to Felipe Giaffone.
Left side of your screen, the 30-year-old veteran Felipe Giaffone attempting to get in. On the right side of your screen, a 23-year-old nervous rookie. Here is Giaffone trying to qualify for his 5th Indianapolis 500. Here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, these are the names and faces we've watched throughout the month of May. They have seen dreams come true. They have seen hopes dashed. No better feeling than that of knowing you've completed 4 consecutive laps and qualified solidly in the Indianapolis 500. Some can only sigh and wonder, though, what if I'd had one more chance? Finally, the opportunities have come, and one man knows he's the quickest and will lead him down on race day. It's all the emotion of pole day at Indianapolis. And this is the emotion of bump day at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Indy 500 time trials. It's what it's all about. Do you have the courage? Do you have the concentration? And now the yellow is being shown for track inspection, and we know what that means, as if Felipe Giaffone, once the track is inspected, will go out and try to bump Arie Luyendyk Jr. out of the field. What is the emotion like in the Luyendyk camp? Let's go down to Jamie Little.
Well, so far it's been sit and wait and watch to see what happens. They just brought out the yellow for track inspection. You know what that means, Arie. What are the feelings here right now, and what are your plans?
Well, we'll wait and see what Felipe does as far as time, and if he does out-qualify Junior, then we'll go out and practice again with the setup that we just put on it, and if he likes it, we'll put another set of new tires on, and then we'll roll him up to try and bump himself back into the field. So that's the plan right now, but we'll have to wait and see what Felipe does.
So you put a new setup on, but he hasn't got to run any practice laps with it?
No, but he'll really need one run to feel it out and hopefully like it or not, and then go from there.
Trial and error here. We're watching the Arie Luyendyk story unfold. He has 2 more attempts, and let's send it down to Vince.
Standing by with Alice Giaffone, and husband Felipe seems very calm. How are you feeling?
I'm okay. I didn't have time to think about it yet, I think. Yeah.
It's been a whirlwind day, from shopping at Babies R Us to trying to qualify for the Indianapolis 500. What was the conversation like after you got the phone call and then the two of you made the drive here to the Speedway? What was the discussion?
Actually, we didn't know until we got here, until we talked to Tiffany and Brian. We didn't know anything, so we just came, and suddenly, you know, there was a surprise.
Did you feel as though maybe this was just you were resigned to the fact that you were not going to get into the field, or did you have an idea that maybe you would get the 11th hour call today?
No, we had no idea. We had no idea what would happen.
You know Felipe better than anyone. As you just watched him roll by here on the tech pad, you looked into his eyes. What did you see?
No, he was very calm. I think he knows what he's doing, you know. So let's see.
Are you confident he's going to make it in?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
What a family story here today, Alice and Felipe Giaffone. Doc?
Thank you very much, Vince. From Babies R Us to bump day drama, all within the span of about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Well, he is in line, and Supertech's A.J. Foyt leans over to talk to what could be his 3rd driver to qualify here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Likable 30-year-old Felipe Giaffone was in the mall earlier in the afternoon and got the call from Supertech to come attempt to qualify. Now let's go down trackside where President and Chief Operating Officer Brian Barnhart will give the final instructions to Felipe Giaffone.
Felipe, nothing like a last-minute deal here, huh? Welcome back. When you go out of here, pull right up on the track at the end of the pit wall, all right? AJ's going to go up to the north end. If he wants you to start the attempt, he'll give the green flag 3rd time by. Then 4 laps to run to completion. That's the same. One thing that's different this year, you can complete the run and still run again. You get 3 attempts per day, even if you run to completion. All right? So you don't have to wave off. You got a bump speed of 2:15.039. They know the number you're at. You can complete the run, come back and get in line for 3 attempts in the next 25 minutes. Go out there and give me 4 good ones. Have a good speed.
Those the final words that a driver hears. They will have him close that visor and fire it up. And Greg Ray, you sat there many times. What do you think about in these seconds before the car is fired?
Well, I can only imagine the electricity going through his veins. You know, like I said, the emotions you have getting in a car, you know, going out there to qualify to go fast is one thing, but doing it at the drop of a hat. Like you said, he was out doing something else today. He really didn't know if this would happen. He probably didn't think it was happening if he was at the shopping mall. So, you know, this is a very last-minute deal. And I tell you, he's been very calm, cool, collected. You know, he's a very spiritual guy. I saw a friend reach his hand in there and they had a little prayer. And that's what he's asking for right now, just to do the best job he can and keep him safe, allow him to do the best job he can. And his wife, it was amazing watching his wife as well. I think I'd like to play poker with those guys sometime as teammates, because she was very calm and cool, collected. And I'm not so sure that if I decided to hop in a car at the last second that my wife would be quite that calm and cool and collected.
Well, 2.5 hours ago, he was at Babies R Us looking at a $30 playpen. Right now, he sits in a $300,000 Panos as he attempts to bump his way in to the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500. When he began his career in 1999, his driving coach was 3-time Formula One world champion Nelson Piquet. He is very well liked, not only in the garage area by the drivers, but around the world because he is such an unselfish driver. The people he has driven for, like Fred Treadway, Mo Nunn, the driver in Reinbold, folks, for Dennis Reinbold, they all think the world of Felipe Giaffone. So it would be a very popular move, although it would be difficult to take for a second-generation driver like Arie Luyendyk Jr. to be bumped out and have to somehow in the final moments get his way back in the field. We'll see what happens as warm-up laps are underway. And there is Alice, who is the wife of Felipe Giaffone. And there's a look at Arie Luyendyk Jr., whose eyes are fixed firmly on that big screen where he can see the qualifying laps click away one by one for Felipe Giaffone.
Yeah, you know, the emotions of Arie Luyendyk Jr. today have been all over the map. He had to sleep over having a bump on the racetrack yesterday afternoon, getting back up to speed this morning. You know, the feelings of exuberance getting into the field, now sitting in the car thinking that you might get bumped out. Again, it's the Indy 500, the world's biggest race. You got to get in it first, and he wants to stay in it.
It's almost cruel and unusual punishment for a rookie to have to put him through this. He didn't get in the car till Friday. He had to hurriedly get up to speed, hurriedly find consistency, hurriedly get the car ready for qualifying, and he puts it in the field at 2:15.039. And now suddenly he's going to have to go through the wrath of bump day, knowing that he could be out of the field and the gamut of emotion he has fielded in the last 90 minutes. We're talking about Arie Jr.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be sitting in his seat right now, but I tell you, one guy that is sitting in the seat and standing on the gas, that's Felipe Giaffone. You know, they talked about the setup. They probably did lower that rear wing just a touch and add a little bit of front wing. And if you noticed the last couple runs, he said the car was a little bit neutral, but it was pushing in turn 2. So that's a tough place to be. You know, you want to get through turn 1. You want to get through turn 2, but you don't want to lose the car in turn 1 before you have a chance to have a push in turn 2. So it's a tough place to be in.
All right, here we go. Green flag waves on bubble day. Felipe Giaffone tries to start bumping someone out, and that someone would be Arie Luyendyk Jr. He has been over 216 miles per hour, and they're anxiously walking up pit road. Now jogging up pit road is Alice Giaffone, Felipe's wife.
He still has 4 laps to go and 14 corners, but his warm-up lap, 2:15.877. That's fast enough. If he can keep 4 of those in there, he'll bump Arie Luyendyk Jr. out of the field.
They say that's about 4 inches between being a hero and being a zero here. If you just miss the mark that closely in turn 1, it can be all over.
Well, I can tell you it's a whole lot less than 4 inches. It's about a ½ inch, and there is no margin for mistake.
Remember, on the bottom of your screen, minus .475. That's how much quicker he is in terms of seconds. Now, minus 0.6 seconds. He is that much quicker than Arie Luyendyk Jr.
2:17.8. That's a lot faster. He's looking very, very good. He's picked up the pace. He's got his foot on the throttle. Looks very, very smooth. And I tell you what, if he can do 3 more of those laps, I think that might put it out of range for Arie Luyendyk Jr. It's going to get real hot here in a hurry.
I don't know. I think Arie Luyendyk Jr. might have a shot. I mean, after all, pretty good stock there. I mean, his dad holds the 1-lap and 4-lap qualifying record. So if anybody can do it here, the Luyendyks have a history of being awful darn fast here in the final moments. But we'll see. We'll see if he's got to put 4 laps together to start with. First time by, as you mentioned, 2:17.815. Second time by, 2:17.755. Amazingly consistent.
Yeah, very consistent, and he stepped the pace up. You know, he had been running a lot of 2:15s. He did do 2:16. Now 2:17s, almost 2:18s, 2 in a row. So again, he's very focused, and they've definitely changed the setup. He's on the gas.
Felipe Giaffone had a top 10 finish his first time here in 2001, finished 3rd in 2002 when he led 12 laps driving for Mo Nunn. His last trip here was in 2004 when Robbie Buell retired and stepped aside from the Dreyer and Reinbold car, and he took that car to a top 15 finish. Alice Giaffone knows her husband is less than 2.5 miles away from qualifying for the Indy 500. Their day began at the mall. It ends up at the world's greatest race course as a potential qualifier.
I think like some of the fastest qualifiers we've had all month long. If you look at those times, 3 laps right now, all within 3/100ths of a second. He's pushing that car to the edge, and he's getting every single thing out of it.
He cannot make a mistake. He has got 2 turns to go. Coming down on the 4th lap. 1 turn away, 1/2 a straightaway away. If he doesn't hit anything and make a mistake, he will get in the field. Here he comes. Felipe Giaffone takes the checkered flag for a 4-lap average of 2:17.645. He's in the field in 33rd spot, and that bumps Arie Luyendyk Jr. Let's head down to Vince Welch.
Alice, when are you going to let a smile go? There you go. That's better. So were you holding your breath the entire 4 laps?
Yeah. They give everything they have, so it's really scary.
How can you put into words what it means to Felipe to be here in this race?
Well, I think it's magical for him, you know. It's a lot of tradition, and it's a lot of tradition, and I think he's honored to be here, you know, racing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jamie Little.
Well, Arie Luyendyk Jr. stays in the car. Dad, what are you going to do now?
Well, what are they going to do? He's going to practice, and if he thinks that it's good enough, then he's going to give it one more shot, and that probably is it. But it's going to be hard for him to pick up here, you know, 2 miles an hour, because he hasn't been that fast yet. So it doesn't look good, but you never know.
They're going to keep fighting to the end. They're going to go out for a couple laps of practice and then see if they can give it one more attempt, Dr. Punch.
Well, thank you very much, Vince and Jamie. They called the dad the Flying Dutchman. We'll see what can happen for Arie Luyendyk Jr. And how about this story? Yesterday, we saw the incredible comeback of Kenny Breck. And today, this guy just comes from the middle of the mall to put this car in the field, and that's a phenomenal effort as he gets ready to climb out Greg Ray. What he did with so few laps, even though he's been here before, is pretty special.
Absolutely. I think if you take in consideration how fast he went compared to Larry Foyt and AJ Foyt Jr., what they did with this car earlier in the month. So for him just to step out and to get into that car and go that fast was amazing.
And this is going to set a brand new precedent, by the way. All these drivers in years to come will be hanging out at Babies R Us on bump day morning waiting to get the call to come to the racetrack. That could be a new trend there. We may have to go by and do a report from there. As Felipe Giaffone gets the gloves off, let's head down where the celebration should be ongoing with Vince Welch.
Thank you very much, Doc. And Felipe is still taking the helmet and, as you mentioned, the gloves and the Hans device off. Has not yet, as you see, stepped out of the car and has not yet unleashed a smile either. Oh, there's a little bit of grin, seeing the whites. So what a solid run for Felipe Giaffone at 2:17.645. And step in here now as he finishes visiting, takes a handshake of congratulations from AJ Foyt. Well, let me see here. Babies R Us in the afternoon, the Indy 500 field in the evening. Is it supposed to work out that way?
Oh my God, I have my plane ticket back to Brazil tomorrow, so I don't know what I'm gonna do now, you know.
I think you're going to be going to New York City to have a picture taken with the other 32 drivers in the field.
Oh my God, it's I mean, it's still, I'm still waiting to wake up, I guess, you know, because at 1:30 p.m. I was at the baby areas with my wife shopping, and they called me, and I wasn't ready at all, you know. So after 2 hours, I'm in the car, so I wasn't really expecting.
Now, sometimes you go through an entire month of the anxiety of trying to get into the field. You know, you might as well do it this way every year. You know, just take about 4 or 5 hours to come put it in. You made it look too easy.
No, I can tell you that it's not easy at all. It's just, I mean, it was just try to do the safest thing today, you know. I mean, I not even know, it's 48 is my car number, which I not even knew it. I mean, the whole team is new for me. But I think all I have to say, thank you everybody, you know, that made this huge effort here last minute, and I owe these guys.
You seem almost as calm and cool and collected as your wife, Alice. I mean, she hardly blinked an eye when you were out there on those 4 laps.
Yeah, I mean, we're not expecting, you know, I was here from Wednesday on, and yesterday we're like, that's it, you know, we're going home, and there's nothing around here for us. I not even want to go to the track on Sunday because it feels really bad to be out of the car and see the other guys running, you know. And I wasn't planning to come at all. I just got my hard card today.
It's a lot better feeling now, I can assure you, folks. Felipe Giaffone in the field for the 89th Indianapolis 500.
Thank you very much, Vince. That just goes to show you that nice guys don't always finish last. Now, this one may start last, actually, 33rd in the field, but I don't think he'll finish there. What a great story here of what it takes to get in the Indy 500. A.J. Foyt having the guts to be able to pull a car out, a third car, when other guys would not even consider it.
Well, you know, I've qualified on the last day a couple of times, and it's not a good feeling. And, you know, he really rose to the occasion, and he's such a great guy. I'm really excited for him. You know, and to see him get out of the car and to have that smile, that is such a genuine smile. I mean, it's going to be exciting. Now, he has the whole separate task to face of getting ready for the race now. He hasn't really done a lot of laps. He doesn't have a race setup on carb day. He's going to be running a lot of laps to get ready for the race, but that's pretty exciting.
And as you watch the number 98 here, Arie Luyendyk Jr. must feel like he has the load of the whole world on his shoulders. Here's A.J. Foyt knowing he's got 3 cars in right now, but also knowing that the Luyendyk name historically here has been able to do some remarkable things. We'll find out what the son of the famous father who has the fastest lap ever in qualifying can do. Can he bump his way back in? All that and more when we come back in a moment.